Hello, welcome. I'm Chris The Zelda Collector, and we are here for a new segment. I'm hoping that'll take off. Basically, I've decided just to get guests on to do all the work for us, and I'll just sit back and let them do all the talking. So yeah, it's Gossip Stones. It's going to be very guest centric. It'll be split into four parts. Part one will be getting to know the guest. Part two will be 12 Zelda related questions. Part 3 we'll be talking about their favourite Zelda game, and part 4 will be a guest topic. And we're here on part 1. So today I am joined by the man behind the hammer. If you have ever seen one of my live streams, you will know the man who I'm about to introduce, and that is Simon. Hello, Simon.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hi there. Right. Well, thank you for inviting me onto your first podcast.
No problem at all. I couldn't have had no one else, Simon. You've been with us since the beginning, really. I think you probably watched me very first stream, and then
Yes.
yeah, I think maybe 3 streams in, I probably asked you to be my moderator, and then I think you've been in pretty much nearly every stream ever since. I don't know how you do it. I really don't.
I think I missed one or two, but just other commitments, I'm afraid.
That was allowed because you went to the cinema, so I allowed
Yeah.
it.
In fact, I think every time has been because I've gone to the cinema.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but yeah, like I say, obviously we're just getting to know a little bit about you, and I think, like I say, we'll say how I first met you, kind of thing, because I used to watch. Hopefully, I'll get back into it. There's another streamer
Yes.
I know called Gus Newton, and he does retro streams. He loves his Sonic, and basically, I used to watch a lot of Russ's streams, and you were a moderator for Russ, weren't you?
Yes. I can't even remember how that came about either. I started watching his stuff. We got chatting, and then I was a mod for his sort of streams and things. It was kind of it's difficult to describe, really. It wasn't really much of a story; it just kind of happened.
Just happened.
Yeah, and then you were saying you were wanting to start streaming, and then you put a link to a stream you were planning on doing.
Yeah.
And I ended up turning up to that. I think you did quite a late one, your first stream, wasn't it?
Well, it was because obviously I've known Russ for a while now. I'm in a bit of a YouTube group with him called TNT the Northern Tubers, and it's basically just a little group of UK tubers, and we all chat and help each other out. And I wasn't ready to live stream. I asked Russ to come and do a test, and he says, "Well, I'm streaming tonight." He says, "Just go live straight after," and he says, "I'll advertise for you." So
I
basically,
think that was it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, my very first stream, I basically, as soon as he finished, everyone just sent everyone over to mine, and then as I got talking to Russ, he said that I said I could do for moderator, and he kind of recommended you, and obviously I says, "Why, that's a brilliant idea," because I knew you and pretty much chatted to you in streams anyway, so it was an obvious choice. And yeah, but obviously now since doing that, I've actually met you 2-3 times in kind of real life now. I would say
Various locations across the country.
yeah, and I say we go to game fairs and we meet up, don't we, in Doncaster mainly. But the last one was at Leeds, so like I said, we've blossomed from more of just a internet friendship to kind of we've met each other a few times in real life now. So I would kind of class you as a true friend, if that makes sense. Not so much an internet friend as a real life actual person of a friend.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, like you said, and yes, and now obviously you kind of moderate my streams as well as Russ's. Obviously, when Russ's streams, you still do that. I haven't stole you off him. You still do come and you still do moderate for us.
I think he streams once a blood moon these days.
Yes. Well, I think he is hoping to get back into his
Yes, I hope he
streams.
does.
He is. I think he's going to try and do some Sonic hacks and stuff like that. So it should be good. But more about you, Sam. You actually have you have a YouTube channel yourself?
Kind of. It's a bit more of a dumping ground for game capture footage and anything. So that's how it started. And that's kind of what its sort of main focus is. So it's more if I want to share videos stuff I've been playing. Really, I did try do a couple of actual videos, but I just don't really take to it, I'm afraid. So that's kind of how that goes. Didn't mind it too much, but it's one of those things I don't think it's for me.
Yeah.
So I'll come back and try it on occasion, but it's not something I'd want to keep doing. I don't think. They're best left to other people such as yourself and Russ.
Yeah, right. Obviously, I'll drop onto this now instead of going on to other stuff. But obviously, I know that you're into your consoles a lot, and you're more into your hardware than your games, aren't you? So I know you do a lot of repairs and fixes. And I've often said in the past before, you should maybe put stuff like that on YouTube. Maybe if you've done a repair or something like that,
Yeah.
maybe log the repair and maybe upload that. People might be of interest. It might actually help people out thinking about it if someone has a problem on a computer.
I did do one for a Taito F3 arcade board, but I never went back and finished the actual conclusion of that. So you did see it dead, and then another follow-up video of it working to an extent.
Yeah.
But I never went back and followed it up to say, hey, it's all working now. I can play it. I've been playing it. I've bought other games for it. Once I got the games for it, that was it. I was playing it rather than thinking, I should probably do a video of this. So once I got the enjoyment out of it, it was kind of it got parked for now, and never got back to filming anything for it.
Well, maybe it should be something maybe to keep in mind on in the future, because I know you've actually had some kind of maybe rare and obscure computers in the past. I know you've obviously shared pictures with me and told us about stuff.
Yeah, I've got like a actual proper, almost like a little workshop area now, whereas before I was just working on this actual desk here. So I've got the space now. I just haven't got around to doing it.
Yeah.
So maybe something for the future.
Yeah, it would be something to look forward to. That would interest me, watching like computers being repaired, and I've actually dabbled myself in the past at doing stuff. So if there was guides there online, if I knew you maybe show us what to do, I could maybe watch your video and figure out myself and diagnose a problem myself.
I did try and do some video footage on the CDIs I was repairing recently, but what I didn't pick up on was my phone overheated during the taking the video. Because I didn't realise it was set to 4K by default. Apparently you can only do about 10 minutes or so. So I left it for like half an hour and came to my phone in standby mode. I was like, oh dear. So all that was a write-off. And the sound was turned off as well, which didn't help. So the footage you did have had no sound.
Nice.
So I was like, right, that's another nail in the coffin. I'll come back to that in a month or two. Wait until I've got another one maybe and give it a go.
Yeah, because you do like saying you do like a lot of, I don't know if I'd say rare or obscure, but I know you like you have a Super Famicom disk system and stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know you do have a lot of the. I wouldn't say obscure the right word, but you do like a bit of a different content,
uncommon stuff. A lot of it is stuff you wouldn't necessarily encounter on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So it's Philips CDIs are what a lot of people come into me at the moment with, or and PC Engine, especially the CD systems as well. So it's stuff you wouldn't necessarily go out and buy from a shop or had bought from a shop in the UK. So it's imports repairs, which is where it becomes a bit of a like a cost between. Is it cheaper to import another one and take another risk, or is it better to repair one that you've already got that you know was working up to a point?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I come in. I'll attempt to help you with whatever problems you're having with whatever thing that you have.
So why do you think you're drawn to them kind of systems and like the ones, and maybe finding new games, or just something that's not quite as mainstream? Why do you think you're drawn to those?
A good question. I think it's more just once you've seen the inside of one Mega Drive, you've pretty much seen majority of them. It gets a bit samey,
yeah.
And it's the same types of problems. Where these things are more, I suppose, would you say the word exotic? You know, the kind of bit more rare, uncommon things you don't see before, and it's interesting to see stuff that was kind of like prior art as well. It's like your older Famicom system compared to the NES, and see where they went with the different designs between the two. And there's lots of similarities, but there's lots of differences too, and that's what I kind of find fascinating, is trying to work out what's gone wrong.
Yeah.
And see why it's gone wrong, as opposed to just repair and off it goes. It's like, oh, it went wrong because they did this in their design, whereas with, say, the NES, you get a different set of issues because they went with a different approach. So it's kind of interesting comparing the two. Especially if you look at anything to do with Sony, you can pretty much trace their origins back to actually this system here, PC Engine CD. You can trace designs back from there to PlayStation, and then the PlayStation 2, 3, 4. It's interesting to see that there's once you see a Sony chip on there and the way they've implemented it, you can see how they've sort of evolved the design through And the amount of similarities between that CD system and a Model 1 PlayStation as well, it's quite interesting to see inside, at least from the way the disc system works.
It sounds actually fascinating, it does.
Yeah. It's just you wouldn't expect them, because they're completely different companies on the outside, completely different form factors, but they share quite a lot alike inside.
Yeah,
So it's kind of interesting.
It does. Sounds very interesting. Right, well, moving on. I know you're actually on about social media as well. You actually, I don't know if you think you are, but you're actually quite a big on Twitter. I would say you have quite a few following on Twitter. Would you say?
Possible. I'm very active on Twitter.
Yeah.
I like to show stuff I'm working on, or games I'm playing on there. That was kind of my outlet. That's how it started. Going back to, I think was it the Xbox 360? I think brought in the ability to share a screenshot. I think before they broke it and killed it off. So that's kind of how it started. So set up an account for that. Shared a few things I was doing. I think it might have been achievements. It started off rather than screenshots, and then various games had, I think, the ability to share through it. Maybe Steam did at one point, I can't remember. So that's kind of how it started, sharing screenshots of games I was playing or things I was looking at.
Yeah, cause I must admit I didn't realise that you were arguing on Twitter till I kind of, I don't know, it didn't take that long, but obviously when I first started tweeting that, I didn't kind of put two and two together, and I was like, wow, it's actually got quite a following on Twitter. But obviously I think you've said this in the past, so you don't really do nothing out of the ordinary. You just kind of yourself on Twitter and just talk gaming to people, don't you?
It's just stuff I find interesting. That's kind of it. I don't really advertise.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You get some of these people who do like a screenshot of the day or a game of the day or game music, and they have like all these retweets and follows, where you just kind of tend to interact with people and have a good social.
Yeah, that's always really been for me. It's finding like-minded people interested in games, or want to talk about all this old stuff behind me, that kind of thing, or stuff I don't know about. So new system that I don't know about existed. A lot of people were interested in it, and that's how I got into PC Engine. Dreamcast never owned, so interest for that came from chatting to people who were interested, who were doing lots of things with them.
Yeah, well, I do enjoy following on Twitter. I do enjoy like your witty comments. I do see on some people's posts where you're on about it. I'll scroll down and I'll see you've commented on a post, and I'll think, no, nice witty comment there, and it just makes us chuckle myself. I do enjoy it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Right then, I think this is a Zelda podcast, so we have to talk about Zelda at some point.
Yes,
Simon. So I think we better move over, and I think I shall ask. What would you say? What was your first Zelda memory? Would you say? Can you remember when you first played a Zelda game?
It was that one, which is probably backward. Oh, let me see. There, is that in focus?
Yes, we can see it.
Right, Zelda 2. My neighbour, who is this? Yeah, my neighbour who's same age as me. His dad had a Mattel NES and had quite a selection of games, actually. I did go through and kind of remember. He had Duck Hunt, Paperboy, Super Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, and Tiger Heli, plus Zelda 2. And his favourite to play was either the original Mario Brothers game, which I was terrible at, or Paperboy. And I hate Paperboy. If I could trace a moment back in time to me disliking Paperboy, it was the amount of times I just I cannot stand. He actually burned the curb line diagonally across the TV. That's how much playtime that game got. So, me wanting to play anything but Paperboy or Mario Brothers, you see the shiny. Where is it? Shiny Zelda 2 cartridge. Like, let's put that on, please. Let's play Zelda.
This piece of gold.
Yeah. So I was probably only about 5 years old, maybe might be, so it'd be maybe 1990, 1991. So all I can remember is game loaded up, you run left, something happened, you died. Game loaded up, you ran right, something happened, you died. So when you were asking when you were playing it, Simon, you've played this before. It's like, I remember dying in it. I don't remember anything else. I was too young to comprehend the instructions or anything.
I remember dying in it.
Yeah, I remember looking at the pictures in the instruction manual. I don't remember reading anything in the instruction. I don't even think I could. Not even sure I could read properly at that age. But
I do love the art in that instruction manual, man.
Yes.
I actually use one of the images as me dead link image. I think they're fantastic, like hand drawn art. Brilliant.
I can remember it taking us nearly 10 minutes to get the game cartridge out of the actual packaging. I think we had to go and ask his mum to get it out of the cardboard case, just because because it looked so pristine. We were so terrified of breaking it, because it wasn't really his, it was his dad's as well, you see.
Right.
So it's like, go find a grown-up to get the game out of the thing so we can possibly play it. I remember getting shown how to put a game cartridge into the actual console as well. I think we did end up with a NES second hand not long after we found out they actually had one, but ours only lasted about 2 weeks before it developed a problem, so that kind of killed it for us. So I never actually got to have a NES during my childhood. Went with the Master System instead.
Yeah. Well, that was me and all mine. That's why I love collecting for the NES right now. I think it was a friend up the road had one, and I always wanted one, but I went Master System, then I went Mega Drive and Super Nintendo. I kind of had both of them at one point in my life, but I never actually owned an NES. So now that I'm older and I can afford the games, I just love buying for them. I love recollecting the NES, I should say. What is it? What's the word I'm thinking of? I can't think of it. Reliving me unyouth I didn't have.
Yeah. So that's the other thing, is going through stuff that you might have interacted with before, but you never actually had yourself.
Yes.
So that's why I ended up with a NES again, was because I was into repairing them and picked up one that was broken, which just happened to be a Mattel NES, which is what I remember my neighbour having. So that got restored up to fully working condition, and then I started tracking down some Zelda games to play. Now I couldn't actually remember which Zelda it was he had either, so I ended up getting the first Legend of Zelda game, putting that in, thinking, this is it. I will come back to the game that I died so many times as a child on. I was like, oh, what the hell is this? This isn't what I was expecting.
But you still died loads of times.
Oh yeah. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was running around without a sword for ages, because I didn't even realise you had to go in the first cave to pick one up. So I was running around pretty much going, this game is impossible. So how do you progress in this game? Everything wants to kill me. So yeah. I don't remember my neighbour actually being able to play Zelda 2 either. I think we both pretty much took it in turns to die.
Yeah.
Then he got fed up and wanted to play Paperboy, and I'm like, no, let's stick with this, or play, Duck Hunt or something. Anything but bloody Paperboy. So it was kind of my escapism from the games he had I didn't like. Yeah. Even though the other games he had were like impossible for me to play anyway, but it was still more fun than Paperboy. So so I did actually get hold of a cartridge after you bought the one I was going to get.
Yes, you were actually eyeing up the copy I bought, weren't you?
Yeah, I couldn't justify that much as a someone who just wants to play the game as opposed to have it all complete and pristine. So I was happy just for a loose cart, but even loose carts they were expensive, weren't they? With much price difference for your complete in box versus loose. Yeah. So did manage to get a copy in the end, very cheap, and I did start it. I think I've done. Would you call them dungeons in Zelda 2 or?
Why dungeons, castles, aren't they? More
castles, yeah. So I've done the first one, and also went and got, which was quite an interesting. Has that come from the camera yet? Have I got that right?
Yeah, the Famicom Disk System version.
Yeah, it's a Zelda 2 for the Famicom Disk System.
Nice.
So I'm about the same in both. I'm kind of like play the one in English, then play the one in Japanese. But I've had too many other games I've been playing recently, so I've not come back to it. So I'm waiting for a dry spell.
So a daft question, but are they exactly the same game then? Or can you tell a difference on a different system, if that makes sense? Or
I can tell you the Japanese one does not pull any punches. You're getting easy mode on the on the English release.
Really?
From what I've played so far. So you can occasionally run away from a fight.
Yeah.
No, forget that. Once those things appear on the map, you are done for.
I couldn't have done it because the English version, it nearly killed us. It did. It nearly sent me over boiling point.
Now,
as everyone's saying.
Yeah. Whether that's different or the same with the American version of it, I don't know. Because the Americans tend to get the initial translation, and sometimes they change stuff for us. So I don't know whether ours is made maybe easier, or
I
if
can
it's
imagine
just...
it got an easier ride. I imagine it goes on American, English, then Japanese for hardness.
Yeah.
Just in my head anyway.
But from what I've played of it so far, I'd say I'm dying more on the Japanese version, and it's not a language barrier issue. It is simply everything's out to kill me on the Japanese version, at least from what I've played so far.
Yes, I see. Actually, wouldn't mind playing it again now that I've kind of done it once and kind of know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I maybe wouldn't mind some point in the very, 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 very distant future.
Once you, maybe like me, maybe.
Yeah, but I'm on my second
20 plus
playthrough of
years
Zelda
later.
games.
Yeah.
Right, so that was your first Zelda memory, and this question sounds like a bit daunting, but it's kind of, what does Zelda mean to you, Simon? When you think of, does it have like any meaning to you, kind of thing? Does it have any impact on you, or?
I'd say the first thing comes to mind is the overworld theme, maybe.
Yeah.
The theme tune, which got associated with it, and running around, try not to die is another thing that comes to mind. So dungeon crawling, moving blocks for no apparent reason other than you have to move the right block to get through to the next bit.
So Legend of Zelda means dungeon crawling and pushing blocks for
pushing blocks and trying not to die as many times as you have.
Right, and probably the last question I want to ask, and this could be a bit like saying maybe a bit hard for you to answer because you're not really into Zelda as much as I am, or maybe other guests I'll have on, but how do you kind of incorporate Zelda into your life? Do you do that in any way? Which I suppose you do in that you watch me play it 2 to 3 times a week. But,
yeah, watch you play Zelda. Play some Zelda myself. Mostly a split between the very oldest games and the very newest games, and not much in between.
Yeah.
Because none of that has ever really appealed to me at the time of release, I guess.
Yeah.
So I had an introduction to it through playing it on my neighbour's NES, and then I've only just started really in the last few years to get into it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I kind of split between the oldest and the newest.
So you pretty much read the first chapter of a book and then go right to the back page.
Yeah, pretty much. Skip to the end. So why bother with the slog in the middle? Just find out what happens.
Yeah. No, why? That's been great. I think, Simon, I've got to know a bit about you now. We've learned a little bit about your Zelda interests on a small scale. So I think that will do for part 1. And for part 2, we're going to jump over and we're going to ask you 12 Zelda-related questions to find out what you really think of Zelda as a franchise. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. We've been joined with Simon Locke there. And do you want to say anything, Simon?
It's dangerous to go alone.
It's absolutely perfect. So I shall see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.